Well, that's a thick ass boy. This is the fuel tank. That's been a process. Starting out, we're doing dual walbro 525 liter per hour pumps. Of course, they actually take direct individual wires. Got the fuel hat already in there for the fuel level sensor that's set up. Up here, the biggest struggle we've had is this vapor valve, this rollover valve, and got the seal on the side ready for the 98 and up Mustang adapter to go to the tank, because the 97 won't work on the hole size that the Terminator 03 Cobras tanks take. So the fuel tank system's honestly ready. Of course, you got to have your emissions and your valves. Now, this valve has just been hell. I'm trying to find a way to get this to seal properly onto the tank so we don't have fuel leaks from the top. But the fuel tank's ready to go in the car otherwise. Like, everything's here. What we're going to do on the output, and let me fold this in here. I'll show that. So I've got the 10 out and the 8 in, the 8A in return. Of course, this is going to go from the fuel hat itself, and it's going to be a returnless style setup or deadhead to the fuel rail. So this is going to come out. I'm going to have a manual pressure regulator here with a vacuum boost reference. And what that's going to do, I'm going to set that to like a maximum bleed off pressure of about 70 PSI. And the purpose of that, of course, is to return the excess of fuel pressure back when fuel pressure spikes. But there'll also be a gauge and a fuel pressure sensor at the fuel rail at the front, and that fuel pressure rail sensor will allow the car to run the fuel pumps only at the amount of demand that they actually need. So it won't cause any, circumstances where you got too much fuel going back or recirculating here at the tank, or the pumps burning up, or anything else. So it's going to be regulated dual, and the fuel regulator back here is honestly going to be used as a quick acting pop off to return fuel from the feed out back into the tank when fuel pressure is exceeded. So it's not always going to be just returning fuel in a loop. It's only going to do it when those little momentary pressure spikes happen. And that's going to be a deal with programming the controller and programming the pumps to where that works properly. But it is a fuel regulator that will be here. It's a single line 8A in from the rear at the tank all the way to the front. And that, of course, will go to the intake for the fuel rails. So that's what we're doing with that. I think that will work out well, and we'll see how everything else goes. But essentially, most of the fuel system is ready, with the exception of adding an adapter to the actual fuel lines to adapt the fuel filter setup in. That's the only thing I'm missing on that part. All right, so there's a lot of different things going on as we push the build forward. Here I've got the Fore Innovations fuel rails with, of course, Never Enough Performance custom intake. This will be custom short runner intake, 6-inch runners, and of course, it's got all the features. This is an adapter plate that was added, and I had those guys to add that for me from another guy who was making these, so that the top of the engine, while it's a C-head engine, will have a B-head Cobra intake cover, which means I don't have to move things, change stuff up, and I get to keep the looks of the B-head Cobra engine instead of the C-head engine covers. I don't like the C-head engine covers as much, but of course I've got that. What I did here, just so we could get things started and get the car fired up, is I used the Ford injectors, 47-pound injectors, and those are going to work well. Well, actually, this is the MU52 injector. Actually, they're short. As you can see, they actually have Fore Innovation spacers. This is what I had on the Marauder originally, and I moved up to a larger injector. So that's a correction on my part. I had to remember I've got so many injector sets and everything, and when we were searching for the short, I did find what the problem was. So there is that part, and we have that set.